Okay, welcome back to the channel. This is Roberto with Full Curl Precision. Just having a little bit more discussion on different things that I enjoy talking about, which is just ballistics and cartridges and different comparisons. But, I also like to hear from others. So, by all means, like, subscribe, share, tell me what you like. But going back to some of the things I like to use, here's some of the cases I've shot over the years and really come to appreciate their value and what they have to offer. So starting from the right, you have the 243 Winchester, which is oftentimes a very good all-around cartridge in terms of medium game to smaller game, such as coyotes and even just varmint hunting as a whole. Next to it, you have the 308 Winchester, which is a good all-around cartridge for medium and even large game, as long as you stay within reasonable ranges. It's not the most powerful, but it has a good amount of power and should not be underrated for its capacity and its affordability. Right next to it, my personal favorite and what I use, the 270 Winchester. Right next to that, 7 rem mag and 300 Win mag. And just for a size comparison of what I shoot out of the 270, that's the 150 grain Nosler AccuBond long range. And the bullet that you see next to it that's all expanded out, I recovered that out of the elk I shot this year. And I shot that elk at a quartering away angle. So I had to sneak it behind the last rib on the left side, and it went through the entire vitals and shattered the opposite shoulder bone and stopped in the hide. So yeah, it went quite a bit, and I actually measured it, and it was somewhere right around 30 inches of penetration. It did a tremendous job. I cannot complain. It wasn't a really far shot, about 150 yards, but in either case, it did a tremendous job on that elk. I couldn't be more pleased. But, I took some friends out today. They've never shot before. Started with a little 22 long rifle, something fun for plinking around. And then here's 3 of the cases we brought back. I was just shooting my 270. I let them try it, and they enjoyed it because, I told them that it's not going to be ultra hard hitting or anything else, and they agreed. They enjoyed themselves. They had a good time. With my particular rifle being a medium profile barrel and the weight that it is, it allows me to shoot that 270 and have it recoil a lot like this 243. Very mild, very soft. And they both agreed. I enjoy it. Again, my wife enjoys it. It's a good all-around usage. It does the job, and it does the job well. But what I also set up here is I have another box of Nosler AccuBonds. And you get to see these pictures here of what to expect when it comes to expansion. What I found it interesting is it's real close. Look at that. It delivers as advertised. It's more like in between here. But either way, the bullet looks exactly as the pictures that they provide on the box. And I like that. It did exactly as advertised. I'm going to keep that as a souvenir. Look at that thing. Just so cool looking. So, going back into what we talked about prior in a previous video, why bullet selection is so important, is it comes down to having a realistic expectation of your cartridge, of your bullet, and your shooting distances and everything else that's involved. I'm not some sort of expert to where I'm going to, go out and take a shot at 800 yards. I don't feel comfortable doing that. But, I'm also still learning. I wouldn't mind to be able to learn how to hunt out to 600. Because there's opportunities that happen at those ranges. And since we live where there's some wide open terrain, I don't think that's unreasonable considering the terrain that we live in. So that's another reason why I like the 270, because it's flat enough that even at 600 yards, you're not losing a ton of trajectory, and it's going to hit well. So I like to stick with that. And when I've had these discussions before about bullet construction, there's a few that I specifically won't hunt with. I'll use them for target shooting all day long because they're accurate. But one of the ones that I really avoid in terms of hunting, the actual hunting application, are the Hornady ELDX and ELDMs. Now, I know there's guys that have their own opinions and their own anecdotes of their own personal experiences. That's fine. Everyone has different experiences. But I've tried the ELDX in 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 PRC, 270 Winchester, and 7 Rem Mag. I'm not impressed with its overall performance on game. Very inconsistent expansions. First experience I ever had with them was hunting in Idaho when we lived down there, and I was shooting a 6.5 PRC, and I got my first mule deer there. And it wasn't a massive mule deer, but it was a good sized body. And the first shot was double lung behind the shoulder. The bullet went in, went out, never expanded. It just penciled. The deer went and bedded down just on the other side of this little knob, so I was able to sneak down the hill and come up, and I was able to get a shot at the shoulder. And the only shot I had was through that shoulder bone where the shoulder blade meets up, which is a heavy socket. That's the only shot I had, so I took it. And the deer rolled down the hill to my feet and stopped, still alive. So I shot it in the head, and it finally, shot it in the neck, and it finally expired. When I dressed it out and I looked at everything, so the first bullet didn't expand at all, just cored right through. The second bullet hit that shoulder bone, exploded, shattered the shoulder, never touched the ribs behind the shoulder, never hit vitals. So what I got was two extremely different effects. And that's not something that I feel comfortable relying on when it comes to becoming an ethical hunter. I don't feel comfortable using Hornady. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do or how to feel about it. That's your business. But for me, it's something I won't ever recommend or feel comfortable using myself. Regardless of how many paid off actors you have with their channels and their YouTube whatevers who are paid to do nothing but shoot all day with $10,000 rifles, trying to tell you how to hunt and how to think. Meantime, that's all they do, so they're able to get the practice in to put those bullets exactly where they want them. Not everybody has the time, money, or opportunities to practice like that all day, every day. They need real, they need honest. And there's nothing more honest than the average Joe like myself or other channels like Reloading Weatherby who go in and go out and they actually test it for themselves, and they just give you the data that they're seeing themselves. Okay? You don't have to take my word for it. There's others out there. But I will personally never hunt with a Hornady bullet again. The only exception might be the interlocks because they're actually bonded. But any basic cup and core, regardless of Hornady or if it's Berger or Sierra or anyone else, I don't hunt with cup and core. There are bullets that are considered controlled expansion, and I'm good with those because Sierra came out with the Game Changers, which, while they are at a basic cup and core at their base, they utilize a much thicker copper jacket so they don't fall apart like the Hornadys do. So I will use those. I have no problem. They shoot tremendously accurate. They do a great job. I've been with several others when they've been hunting, and see how they perform on game. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, they do as advertised. I have a big problem with companies that put out products that don't perform as advertised. I consider that to be fraud. If it's not performing as advertised, you have no business putting it out, especially when people are relying on that to fill their freezers. It's dishonest, in my opinion. So that's my take. As you know, as you can tell, I'm not afraid to voice my opinion because at the end of the day, I'm going to do my best to deliver as an honest evaluation as I possibly can. And I've found in my personal experience, you're better off with a good bonded bullet, a good monolithic, or a good hybrid. So such as the Terminal Ascents, such as the Trophy Bondeds, and the Federal Fusions. They're just really good bullets. You know, they're accurate. They do their job as advertised. And I have no problem recommending those because I know how they've worked for me. And no, I don't get paid by any of these companies to say these things. So go out, experiment, learn for yourselves, enjoy the process. But remember, at the end of the day, it's our job as hunters to be ethical and responsible. We're not there to torture the animal. We're there to kill it. So don't pick something that's not going to do the job and do it well. Pick something that will. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell me what you like and why. Keep the comments respectable. You know, we're trying to make this where we can educate everyone. So I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again.